What's up, you guys? So in this video I'm going to be talking about my miscarriage story. I feel like I could talk about it now, even though it's happened like 3 weeks ago. My second miscarriage happened 3 weeks ago. So the first time I had two miscarriages. The first time that I got pregnant was in November of last year. So my last period last year was in September the 11th. And I found out when I missed my period on the 11th of October. Like, I waited like 2 days for my period to come, but it never came. So, you know, I bought a test at Walgreens and it came out to be positive. So, you know, I told my boyfriend, and then I told his mom, I told my mom. You know, we were all like excited, and then you know, I started to make my appointment. I made my first appointment like a week or 2 weeks later. And like when I went in, they calculated on the phone that I was supposed to be like 6 weeks or something like that when I had called in, because according to my last menstrual period. Anyways, so when I went in for my first ultrasound, they told me that I was actually 6 weeks and 5 days, but I was supposed to be 8 weeks at the time, or like they just miscalculated, but they did see a heartbeat at 6 weeks and 5 days when they did my ultrasound. So, you know, I was happy. I got my ultrasound. So like everything was all good for the next few days, you know what I'm saying? And then like, so my next appointment was gonna be 2 or 3 weeks after that, when I was 8 weeks. So before my second ultrasound, like a week or a couple days before, I seen like brownish pink discharge. You know, it wasn't even like, it wasn't nothing to me. When I seen it, I was just like, whatever, maybe that's normal. So, you know, I started asking my friends who were pregnant, you know, like, hey, have you had brown discharge when you were pregnant? Da da da. Some of them were saying that it was normal. Some of them said I should go get checked out. And so I was like, I don't know, I was like trying not to make it a big scene. I was trying not to, you know, overthink it. So I was like, whatever. So I went to my next ultrasound, which was supposed to be my 8-week in like 5 days or something like that. So I went, you know, I was like all happy, ready to see how I was doing and stuff. By the way, I didn't mention in the beginning, but my hospital was in Fairfield. When the doctor did my ultrasound, at first it was a girl doctor that came in with her assistant, and they were like talking to me about scans and all that stuff. And then you know, they were just like, we're having a hard time finding the heartbeat. You know, I thought it was just like, well, like what, like whatever. Like I thought they would find it. Like they were just having a hard time finding it because it was so small. So my PCM came in and he's like, all right, so let's check this out. Like, let me find the heartbeat. And then, so, you know, they did the transvaginal ultrasound, whatever. Oh, he was in there and he's like, yeah, like he had this look on his face, like he was concerned. He was like, you know, he was like, yeah, I'm not seeing a heartbeat. This makes me really concerned, like it may be a miscarriage, you know. So they had to send me to a radiologist, something like that, radiologist or something. They did an ultrasound on me that took a minute, which took forever for them to call my name, because I was like, what am I gonna get called? You know, I'm so nervous. I'm like crying. I was crying. I was like, man, why is this happening to me? You know, why is this happening to me? You know. So they call me, so I get my ultrasound, and then they're like, okay, we got the results. We're gonna go ahead and send you back upstairs so they can tell me what was wrong or what's going on. So, you know, I went upstairs. My doctor seen me, and he was like, you know, he already had the look on his face where it was a he called me in, and he's like, yeah, so you lost the baby at 8 weeks. You're gonna have a miscarriage. And you know, at that point I was just like, I didn't know what to do, because it was like I don't know, my heart just broke into pieces, because like, you know, I was so happy. My boyfriend was so happy. You know, I announced it on Instagram and YouTube like a week ago before my ultrasound. So like, yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking for me. So I had to go through a natural miscarriage, because I didn't want to do a D&C or, you know, none of this operation type stuff, because like, you know, I didn't want to risk it. So I just went natural, and it happened like, I would say 3 to 4 weeks later it had happened. I was in so much pain, like, you guys, it was so painful. For some reason it was more painful than the second one I had just recently, like 2 weeks ago. It was more painful, like just out of the world cramps that you would have on your period. Like, it was so bad. I was emotional for a really long time. You know, to this day I'm so emotional. Like, it's really hard for me to not think about it. Like, it's hard. So, you know, I had to like tell my mom, my dad, everybody, like, yeah, I'm having a miscarriage. But like, you know, everything happens for a reason. So it happened for a reason. So, you know, the second time I got pregnant was so my period came back in January of this year, 2018. It came back in January the 11th. That was my first cycle after my first miscarriage. So, you know, February came and my period didn't come on the 11th. It's crazy, because my period from my first miscarriage, I had missed it on the 11th as well. So, you know, I missed it on the 11th of February, and I was like, what the heck? Like, at first I didn't think that I was gonna get pregnant. I was like, maybe it might take a while again, but like, I don't know, it just magically happened that I got pregnant again. So I took a test and it came out 2 lines. Actually, let me show you guys the test. I still have all 4 tests from both of them. Okay, so that first ultrasound that I showed you was my first ultrasound. And yeah, those 2 pregnancy tests were for my second pregnancy. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about my second pregnancy. So, you know, I found out I was pregnant after I took those 2 pink tests. And, you know, I told my boyfriend, I told his mom. Those were the only 2 people that I told at the moment, because, you know, I was like, I didn't really want people to know. So, you know, as weeks went by, I made my appointment again. You know, they had to take my blood test again. They had to draw my blood again. You know, so the doctor called me. They're like, congratulations, you are pregnant. We see it in your blood, whatever. So I went into my first ultrasound, like, I think, March 12th. I went in for my first ultrasound. You know, they seen everything was fine. I was 8 weeks and 4 days. they didn't let me hear the heartbeat, but they showed me the heartbeat. Like, yeah, there's baby's heartbeat. I would show you guys a video, but my iPhone had broke, so I lost it. But yeah, they were telling me everything was great, everything was looking fine, you know. So I was so happy, you guys. Like, I was like, wow, this is gonna be my miracle baby. Like, you know, I was just thanking God, you know. So weeks went by, like 2 weeks or like a week later, because I had to go back on the 19th. And then they did the little Doppler on me, and they said I was 9 weeks and 4 days. You know, I heard the heartbeat at 1:35. So I was just so relieved, you guys. I was like, you know, I'm 9 weeks and 4 days. Everything's going great. Like, me and my boyfriend were so happy. We announced it, you know, like. And then like I went into my next appointment, when I would come back when I would be 16 weeks, so they could find out the gender. So what happened was, the week after that, I started seeing like discharge again, you know, and I was scared. And it didn't make sense to me, because my friend had a Doppler, you know, and she would check me like every 2 days, every 3 days, and you know, we would hear the heartbeat. And like I really thought that I heard the heartbeat, you know, but it was actually my own heartbeat, not the baby's heartbeat. And I had figured that out when I started to bleed. Like, I had discharge and stuff. And then I went to the hospital, you know, and my boyfriend had went with me. I was supposed to be 12 weeks and 4 days when I had went to the hospital. And they were telling me like, okay, so like they took my IV, they took, you know, they took my urine test, whatever. So we were there for 5 hours, guys, 5 hours at the hospital. And like, it was just so horrible, because, you know, they did my ultrasound and everything, and I was just crying. Like, I just knew in my heart already, like I felt in my heart that, like, it was just horrible, guys. You know, the doctor comes in after they took my ultrasound at the radiologist again, and it took him forever to tell me the results, because they were getting busy. It was like a Monday, and you know, over the weekends the Air Force Base are closed. So like, we went on Monday, 12 p.m. came around, the doctor came back in the room. He's like, yeah, unfortunately I have bad news for you, it's gonna be a miscarriage. It was really heartbreaking, guys. Like, and it 3 weeks ago from today, or no, 2 weeks, or was it 3? 2 weeks ago from today, I had my miscarriage naturally, so it passed. And the crazy thing is, the doctor said it passed at 8 weeks, and it didn't make sense, because I heard the heartbeat at 8 weeks and 4 days. I didn't hear it, but we seen it, you know what I'm saying? So like, I assumed everything was fine, and I told the doctor that. He's like, yeah, it could have been around the time where you were 9 weeks, and like somewhere around that time. And I was just so confused. I was like, and that day was so horrible. Like, I just acted like everything was fine with me, you know. But in reality, I was devastated. To this day, I'm still devastated, you know, because I'm like asking myself, what's wrong with me? What did I do? What caused it? And you know, I asked the doctor what could have caused it, and he's like, many things could have caused it. And that's what exactly they said last time. That's exactly what they said to me last time. Many reasons could have caused it. I don't know, you know, I was confused. It just hurts me, because Mother's Day is next month, and to know I just had another miscarriage really breaks my heart. But I know I have 2 angels watching over me, and I know God is gonna bless me when the time is right. So right now I'm just gonna live life, because I'm gonna be 20 on the 22nd of next month. So, you know, I have a whole life ahead of me still. I still have time, I still have faith, I still have hope. I always will have trust in God, because I know that He's writing my plan. He's just waiting for the right time to bless me, you know what I'm saying? But right now it's just a pain that will never go away and will never be healed. And this tattoo I got from my first miscarriage. Let me see if I can zoom in. It says, you guys can't read it, probably can't, but it says, God holds you in his arms, I hold you in my heart. And the two little feet, you know, boy or girl, because it's really emotional. Okay, people that don't have, that never ever had a miscarriage, like, you guys are so lucky. Like, you don't want to, I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody, you guys. I would not wish this pain. In my heart, it tears me apart every day. Like, I try not to think about it, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and I know my time's gonna come. So until then,